How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Good. Yeah, enjoying this long, long weekend, family day.
Oh yeah, I don't have a family, so I don't know nothing about that, buddy. Neither. It's just a nothing burger to me. Family day. Got an intro playing because I got nothing. I didn't think about anything.
Yeah, I
We got
I haven't
nothing.
thought of anything.
All right, we'll pack up. We're not doing it. Locals only is over. Sorry, guys. We're sorry. This is how you had to find out.
That's a nice shirt you got going on there.
Oh, thank you. It's a little flower shirt.
Flowers,
Yeah,
just because
H&M.
Valentine's Day was just coming
Yeah,
by.
that's exactly it. Yeah, this is my Valentine's themed shirt for the episode.
Yeah, that's very nice of you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm a very courteous person, so that does make sense.
Oh, awesome.
Welcome back to Locals Only. We are back. Happy New Year. Happy Valentine's Day. Did we miss anything else? Family Day. Happy I hope you had a good family day with your family. This is your Underground Ontario music cheat sheet. We took January off to let some of the stuff pile up here and to give ourselves a little bit of a break. And boy, do we have a pile for you. We got a big old pile.
Ooh.
A big old pile of not shit, Phil. These are golden eggs. We're sitting on a pile of golden eggs.
Yeah, no, not a lot of new metal influence in these bands. I don't know if you really caught that. There was and it was just all sorts of different themes of new metal. It wasn't just when you think of new metal, bands like Slipknot and Limp Bizkit come to mind, but it wasn't that kind of new metal. It was some of the earliest stuff. We'll get into it when we get up to the bands, but that was a common theme, and we had some really cool bands on this list. I'm really excited to talk about a ton of these bands. You want to get into it?
First on the docket for the first Locals Only of the year is 1000 Times Goodnight's self-titled, released back in 2023. This is an atmospheric Midwest emo release with deeply personal lyrics, Wonder Years sort of lyrics, you know what I mean, where they bring up the actual person they were hanging out with. Absolute tearjerker. The guitar work sounds so complicated. I just wish I could play stuff like this or even begin to understand how you get to a point of playing stuff like this. I really like the reworking of the original Rainy Days. There's a little bit more dynamically going on. Some little vocal things sound like they were added in. Wedding in a Dream is an absolutely beautiful instrumental bridge. Off in the Distance and My Friend Walton are also just both stellar. This bangs. And the song that we talked about before, the self-titled track, I guess, which I love when bands do, that's absolutely still bangs, still sounds as good as it did before. This is a really good EP.
I mean, this satisfies all your Midwest emo cravings. And as an elder emo myself, it's a pleasure to witness a band like this coming out of St. Catharines again, where the genre hasn't really been so much alive since you and I were really kind of going to shows Sleeper Set Sail and Life Story Monologue being bands that were playing all the time, but you and I were really into the breakdowns, and you don't really hear so much emo coming out of St. Catharines. So I'm always super excited when we get to talk about this band, because I think this is the first or second time we've been able to talk about this band. They draw parallels to Tiger's Jaw, maybe not so much without the organ that gets played, but it's very much there. Like you mentioned, the straightforward vocals, the lyrics, they're about somebody. There's no cliche in the lyrics, which I really like. There's nothing that's they're very well written. They're not being. That's what I enjoy out of lyrics, is they're not being said like something you've heard before in a Real Friends song, or something you've heard in and again, that a Tiger's Jaw song. These are something that's feel very personal, and of course they have the song Dalton, which I believe he used to be the drummer. We're a friend of Dalton. He's a homie, and honestly, this was a really cool EP. Very well crafted, and it just adds a little bit of an extra depth to the Midwest emo.
Yeah, I am dubbing this band the official St. Catharines Crybaby Core Band, and I don't know how they'll take that, but we will find out.
Vancouver Riot Starters, Hollow Point, are coming out with their 10-song EP. This is released only on Bandcamp. This is embodying classic hardcore punk. This EP doesn't hold back. It's like I love the artwork that comes with it. Super, like with the cop with the gun to the head, like it's like with the badge that spells pig. Like yeah, this is quick. I think there was like a 5 minute like EP. It was like in and out. We love fast stuff, like just like where every moment and every snare hit, like to echo what you normally say, like does like nobody's wasting any time. Or,
Yeah,
like,
this was
you know,
this was 10
breakdown.
songs in 10 minutes. 10 songs in 10 minutes.
Cohese, fulfilling like hardcore punk experience that was super cool going on here. Yeah, I hope to hear more from them because like as much as like a fast thing, which you can always keep going back to and repeating. I'm a glutton for more. Just give me more.
It's like noisy hardcore punk. It was reminiscent of the type of stuff you'd get in like the 90s, like just super fast, politically charged. Hits like a drunk Scotsman, I wrote here. Circle pits on circle pits. This band inhabits much more of like that true like heavy punk sound versus like what hardcore is now. You know what I mean? This sounds like actual like heavy punk music as opposed to like just like two-step riffs and breakdowns and slam parts. So yeah, this was super cool.
Brief duration, but it was impactful.
Toronto Fury Punks, Iodine, have released an EP called Once Bitten, Twice Shy. We should just be calling them Vin Diesel because this EP is fast and furious. There's probably some lyrics in there about family too. Family's a part of those movies, right? I've never actually seen a single Fast and Furious movie. This is tight, thrashy, fast, two-step punk riffs, very clear, like militant, barky vocals. The yells are super reverbed out. The mix sounds good. And I'm like a big sucker for like movie quotes and clips and stuff like that. You don't get to hear it. It was such a big thing like 20 years ago.
Kill Whitney Dead.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would say like 35% of the time a Kill Whitney Dead album was running, it was movie quotes and not music. Like and the song No Peace has like the nicest grooves on it, like dive bombs in it and like guitar shit like that I like. It's my favorite track for sure, but this whole EP just goes like dummy hard.
It's so good. Like I mean, you're going to keep us hearing us say this almost every time that we do a locals only, but like the amount of hardcore that's coming out of Ontario is like unfathomable. I mean, this record came out in 2023, which we're kind of catching up with some of these records here, but I mean, like the amount of bands that are just putting themselves out there, it's insane. And like Iodine are super cool. I wanted to ask you, you said the vocals were super barky. I had like reminiscent of like Rage Against Machine, but like I even have like some like Oliver Tree like deliveries, some like they like the way that they like he kind of sounds and like that whiny tone. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like I was picking up with that. And like that's what's so cool about hardcore is like sure, like maybe like you the two step and like the breakdowns, like the formula of it is like, you know, done in time again. That's something that people can argue against whether they do like or don't like the genre. But I mean, the vocals are always such a big thing in hardcore, and like in this case they're like more of the like clean style vocals, where like you know bands like Wildside come to mind. This was a super cool EP.
Yeah, I'm still digesting when you said that. It almost sounds like Oliver Tree. So
his like vocal delivery, it's weird. It's hard to explain.
I do get what you're saying, like the yelpy, the really yelpy sort of yelling. Oliver Tree is definitely an interesting. You've been listening to Oliver lately?
No, not lately, not at all.
No, didn't like the Cowboy album.
No, I hate it.
Wasn't really for me. It wasn't really for me either.
All right, Kitchener Screamo band, Basque, coming out of like, you know, there's like a, you know, we were just talking about Southern Ontario being a huge hub for hardcore. If you actually just zoom in a little bit, there's like a microcosm of Screamo happening out of Kitchener, Waterloo. And that's what, you know, these folks are from. Yeah, this was really interesting. There was like, you know, noise and like aggression, but like being it's tied together. This was certainly interesting for enthusiasts of screamo. You definitely got to check out Basque because it kind of leaves you wanting more. This was only like 2 songs, or was this just one song?
Just one, remember. Yeah. The song Perks we looked at.
Things about screamo, so it's like in and out really quick, and yeah, super cool.
And this is the type of screamo that I find like leads into like being scary more than it sounds like emotional. Like, this is just so chaotic, super mathy, super atmospheric, very shrieky, lots of dissonance around it. I love like the bridge part 30 seconds into the song where the shit sounds like a siren is going off. Like,
yeah.
it has a very like needlessly spooky outro as well. Yeah, I can't wait to hear this band do more stuff. They were on the road with Monk for most of their tour down here. So
cool.
yeah, I wish they had came to the green. Okay, so Peidiy, that's a little bit of a tongue twister. Punk's Knull, back in 2023, had an album come out called Offering. This is moody, emotive hardcore punk with like a gazy undertone. Really growly, breathy vocals and like melody driven riffs. Reminds me of bands again. We've talked about it before, like Shy Halud, 100th. I really like the lead guitar work all over this. This has a few songs that hit around that 4-minute mark, and there's a lot of dynamics in them that keep it from feeling like stale or redundant.
Actually, when I was looking for shows to happen out here, this band was playing nearby, like as soon as I landed out here in New Brunswick. And unfortunately, I didn't get the time to go see them. I did learn that Davis actually recorded this record.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, no, this was super cool. This was like the music was like sonically like basement and like fiddlehead and like super heaven, just like in turnover, this like super like emo but like shoegazy, but like the vocals were like harm's way. It was such an interesting mix. And what I really liked about this was like the breaks that were happening in between were just like this like I don't know, this ambient like sonic journey that it kind of took you on. And then like
Yeah.
if you check out the band's Instagram, it like showcases that person that's on the cover of the record, dude, showing you how to do like meditative like meditation stuff, like very similar to like Monk, like
Yeah, the songs were like I ended up writing the Self Saga because it was like all of the transitionary songs on here were like, yeah, those sort of like drony meditative noises. And it was like self actualization, self this. I can't remember the name right off the top of my head. But yeah, super yeah. It added this like really like interesting, almost like epic feeling to the record, like when those transition songs would hit in between tracks. All of the bands doing it in PEI. Shout out to the Island, man.
I don't think it's that kind of violent.
Hmm?
Toronto grindcore punks, Expel, with their release Digital Harassment. This was super cool. This was like, yeah, like what I said, grindcore and punk, but like sidestepping power violence altogether. I don't know how they managed to do it. This was like fast, aggressive, with like robust offerings, bringing like, I don't know, favorable elements from both genre, like kind of just like cutting out all the other stuff and like marrying them together. It was a really unique sonic experience, drawing parallels to like the Chariot, like doing like things in like you know a very grounded and artful way, but like it's still being like this chaotic experience that's happening at the same time. Yeah, this like to like the average listener, you would probably just think this is a heavy band, but like if you listen like if you pay attention, it's like a very calculated like precision, like there's almost behind every riff. It's crazy. This is a cool, I really like this release. I became a fan almost immediately, so yeah, I definitely liked this was super sick.
I wrote that this is a sewer core band. Like it's very sludgy, but this band just sounds like the type of music that like the Ninja Turtles would listen to if they were into hardcore. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's just tight, it's moshy, it's chaos covered in piss. It makes me want to sit in a sewer and like eat like an impossibly cheesy pizza. The vocals also, just going with the sewer thing, I find that the vocals really sound like what I would expect like an alligator to sound like if they were a vocalist. I don't know if that, again, I don't know if that makes sense, but
There's just
this
like
is
sewer band.
this is how this band made me feel. They are a sewer band. Yeah. It's for sewer moshing. You just stomping and piss and shit and it's flying everywhere. Like that's what this sounds like. Subliminal has like a totally infectious groove on it. Like it's just such a headbanger the whole time. This is just a gross gross sounding band in the best way possible. Sour Key, Toronto grunge band, also released an album last year that we're taking a look at and talking to you about now. It is called Left in Thoughts. This album immediately takes me back to like the mid to late 90s when you had like just like disenfranchised rock, just angry, sad rock everywhere. There's a nice, thick, suffocating atmosphere to this music. It's despondent. It's melodramatic. It's got chuggy rock riffs. It's got a little Midwest flair in the leads. Almost reminds me of like the Vines in the way that they'll jump between like energy levels, or like obviously like the Smashing Pumpkins, or the Bravery. I was getting a little bit of the Bravery from this band. A lot of like ambient embellishments. Like the pianos, I think they were pianos. It's so hard to tell because like you can do so much with guitars nowadays. I love the leads and the main melodies of Holding Line. Favorite tracks were Letters and Bedsheets. Yeah, if you like 90s grunge revival bands, like this should be right up your alley.
Yeah, this was like a catchy, like melancholy like record. Like I found like there was even like echoing everything that you said. Yeah, like 90s grunge, like bands like Super Heaven and Basement come to mind, even though they're not newer, but like bringing that kind of revival back in. But there was this hidden element of like 80s goth wave that like I just felt was just like, I don't know, just like a little dab of it, just like a little drop.
I think that was the Bravery I was hearing. You know what I mean? There's just a tinge of goth in there.
Yeah, like it kind of just like mixed very well. It wasn't like huge. It was very subtle, and it like very fit in that pocket with that Toronto grunge vibe. It's this very cool sound. They blended it so seamlessly. Like they said, it's that element is there, but it's like you gotta listen for it. It's cool. Yeah, this was like power grunge emo.
That's a great way of putting it.
My like personal favorite bandy single of the year award from last year, "Give My Remains to Broadway." They're back with another single. "It Will All Be Red." These are the masters of dark wave coming out of Toronto. So they're always blending like 80s goth wave with like, I don't know, something you would be able to see on like early MTV. Like it's just got this like retro vibe altogether. Well, it might not be as catchy as my favorite song by them, Pool Shark. It still exceeds the point of like, the way that the lyrics are crafted, it kind of makes you think of like a lonely NPC from a game, just hidden somewhere in the northern realms, just kind of being isolated and cold. This was a very cool song. Like I said, I think I like the other tune more by them, but this was still a very cool song. I would like to see them like how they perform live, because I know that they play shows. I would just like to see how their setup is, and like I know that there's like one or two members in the band. I'd be curious to see a couple live sets or clips by them.
Okay, Phil. Now it's time for me to do my stupid Bane joke.
Oh, you think Darkwave is your ally, but you were merely adopted by the Darkwave. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't hear Lightwave until I was already a man. By then, it was nothing to me but blinding.
This is music to play to impress the big titty goth mommy of your dreams. Fans of The Cure, She Wants Revenge, Sisters of Mercy. You're going to like this. This is dripping in drama and atmosphere. This is bump and grind music for the freaks. Toronto power rock group Mellohoney put out a song called My Dad's a Boomer. Phil, this is absolutely not what I was expecting, but like a guy who bought an expensive ticket to an orgy, I'm just glad I came. Catchy, unhinged, old-fashioned rock and roll. The tongue is just right in the cheek with these lyrics. Super heavy rock riffs. The vocals are just unhinged. It is a relenting vocal performance. Very trebly mix. This band slaps. If you like Dirty Nil and DZ Death Rays, like this is right in that pocket for you.
I even wrote down, fans of like Billy Talent, Metallica, Queens of the Stone Age, just like rock, like gasoline fueled rock and roll. yeah, the tongue in cheek lyrics. This is very silly, but like it's very self aware, and like its delivery isn't corny in any way, if that makes sense. Like sometimes like you read the title like My Dad's a Boomer, and you go like, what am I going to get myself into? And then you got a pretty cool rock anthem at the end. Of it. Like it was quite it swept me off my feet, to be honest. Yeah, super cool. It's just right in the sweet spot of where it needs to be, of just like a rock song.
Speaking of corny.
Yes, with the K, right? With the K.
Yes, sir.
All right, this is one of our first new metal installments here on this list. This is Klokwise, who might even be the kings of this going on.
They're the best. They're the best ones at it.
Yeah, the new metal purists coming out of Toronto with their release Time's Up. This was such a badass like EP. They skillfully weave in that new metal like sound, like with the scratching of like you think of Korn, like later Korn. We're talking like after Follow the Leader, where they kind of really interweaved like different kinds of sounds and stuff. Slipknot with like just synth and like noises all together being involved with the music, if that makes any sense, but like they still like keep it grounded in that hardcore pocket.
That's the thing. This EP sounds like Limp Bizkit and Korn and Slipknot without ever sounding like they're copying Limp Bizkit, Korn, and Slipknot. Like it's they've captured the vibe of those bands. This band to me sounds like what I think Alien Ant Farm thought they sounded like.
And that's a good example. There's something that they thought they could sound like. Because this was super cool. This was angry. There's like, you can imagine moshing happening to the song, but like you pull yourself back, and this is like straight up a new metal band. We're gonna talk a lot about like Korn specifically, and like it's like there's a lot of new metal on this list, but like these guys killed it, and I loved it.
I don't feel like I mentioned new metal in much of my notes, so it'll be interesting to see what you're talking about.
Sure,
and see what we're getting into, because I mean, I could be wrong. I'd probably have to look through all my notes to be sure. But yeah, Klokwise, getting back to them, this is undoubtedly like one of the bands I'm the most excited for around here right now. This is just perfect. They have such a character to their music. It's anthemic. It's totally like groovy in a moshable way. Again, the tongue is just right in the cheek here. If you like any new metal band that's ever existed, you'll probably like these guys. Or if you don't like new metal but you like fun, like, do you like fun? Then listen to Klokwise.
Yeah. I think we've put them on locals only before, but there's a cool band from the West Coast called Flashback, and they're right up there with like Klokwise. Like they would make a perfect split, and that if they ever did a tour together, they're like, that would be incredible. So you're hearing it first. We want the call to action. Klokwise, Flashback, do a Canada-wide tour, so both Tyler and I can see you. At least like Ontario and the East Coast, at least that part.
I'm also pretty sure that someone in Klokwise confirmed in our comments that there will be a song with Jake from Mile End. So get the dude from Rockpile too. Don't be dumb. Get the guy from Rockpile. He needs to be on a song. Get Connor from RD. Let's go.
So you know how like Odd Future had the oldie where it just had like
give us the 20-minute hardcore song with 15 to 20 features
of just Southern Ontario. Yeah, let's hear it.
A man can dream. Montreal weed inhalers. Dopethrone released a track called Life Kills You, based on the artwork. If you've seen it, it would appear an album's on the way. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that there's probably an album on the way. This is a very fitting name for the band because it basically sounds like what I imagine like a panic attack sounds like. Like it if you could measure like an anxiety attack sonically, this is like what the file would sound like. Vocals are inhuman, absolutely inhuman. It does not sound like a human is doing that. Big stoner doom grooves, big splashy drums. Everything is mixed in this like static haze. It's like you're standing inside of one of the guitarist's cabs. Like it's it sounds like you're being slowly engulfed by just like an absolute fog of like pessimism. Like it's crazy how evil and unnerving this sounds.
Yeah, you really painted a picture there. When you said inhuman, what are you thinking that comes to mind? Like a mountain troll or like a caveman?
Not even like in a like a HP Lovecraft like alien the size of a planet that's like speaking to you with its mind. Like
There you go.
I can't even picture it. Like it's like it sounds like a ghost in a different way than what we normally mean.
Yeah, it was like a fuzz rock stoner sludge, but like carving its own path. Like you're getting elements of like Motorhead, but like it was like also like the tone of it was like more like stonery. It was hard to explain. This was a really cool band. Yeah, they cut through like a knife those low like the note those low notes and. Yeah, instead of like doing like the like punk tropes, they do like these solos instead. I don't know. This was a really cool tune, and yeah, the way that they can like navigate both kind of genres was interesting. And yeah, they're a bunch of stoners, so like
Yeah.
we like that.
This music is the equivalent of what weed feels like to people who don't want to smoke weed. Like when people have had a bad experience with weed, this is what they mean.
This is what they mean. All right, London Mosh Makers, Falls for the Elderly are out with their new release, AI Suicide. This was super cool. Falls for the Elderly, like this.
I need to ask you a question, okay? Is this band implying that elderly people are falling over, or are they falling in love with the elderly?
Ooh.
I've been thinking, I can't stop thinking about this, Phil, because this is either granny fucking or elder abuse. And I guess the second could actually encompass both. But I need answers to this, so...
Whoa, yeah, hold on. I have a third option for you. What if it's talking about the season, like, the falls for the elderly? This is just like
like this is their season. They wear their mitts and they go for walks with their hands behind their back. Have you ever noticed that when old people walk around, they put their hands behind their back? That's a dangerous way to walk when you're that old because you're going to fall on your face, dummy.
This was interesting. Like we covered the one song "Suicide" by these guys, and like it was more of like a shoegaze screamo kind of thing going on. And like when I put this release on, and it had the opening track "Failure to Thrive," it's like totally. I mean, I had to double check that this was the same band. It like it's almost sounded like the way that they like are like multifaceted with their sound, like super interesting. Like they can navigate it so well. It does like down tuned djent metalcore, but it also blends in like elements of like post hardcore. Yeah, they just kind of like navigate this landscape so like it takes you on a journey. It's really cool. They cover a lot of ground.
Yeah, that's interesting you said that because I have exactly my notes of verbatim. This band will go from sounding like early Throwdown to Alexis on Fire in the same song.
Yeah,
and BMX2 is such a good example of that. Like, there wasn't a song I didn't like on this record, and yeah, we labeled them as MySpace core when we heard like the song Suicide. This is new mosh. There's a lot of new mosh going on here. Spy Kids, Failure to Thrive, that entrance, like that first song, like is just wild. The guitar work is crazy. They cover so much ground with the way they jump from like super heavy stuff to these again, like gazy, sort of like Watch Out inspired Alexis on Fire parts. Like, I'm a little worried about the granny fucking, but other than that, I am like blown away.
I'm into it.
All right. Well, I have another joke prepared, guys. Help! I've fallen for the elderly, and I can't get up.
You suck.
There you go.
Niagara surf and turf band Daze Away have put out their EP. It'll Make It Better. Mm-hmm. This is a just great breath of fresh air. Very unique. Doesn't even really sound like their previous work as much as it's hard to explain. Like it sounds like more lo-fi. It doesn't sound like anything we've really listened to on Locals Only ever, which is fun. It's an alt rock band with like fast, plucky punk sensibilities. There's a lot of like really like pretty clean chords on the verses. Very, very unique vocal tone. A band that just doesn't feel at all encumbered by like the triviality of genre. Like 1 minute, if it feels like being a moody, slow gaze song, it is, and then the next song, all of a sudden you're borderline skanking to a dub riff. Like it's amazing, like how much ground is kind of covered in such a cohesive sound.
Yeah, I know. Like you could tell that they were drawing inspiration from bands like Waves, like Fiddler, and like something, but like they kept the simplicity of like the chats and like the cribs. Do you want to get the cat? You want me to get the cat? Hold on, I have the cat.
We can't afford the acting fees for the cat, so we got to get him out of here. Phil has a very famous cat. We can't really get into it.
Yeah, I know this. I really like the simplicity. You know what I really liked about this is this is like a live, off the floor EP, but in front of like an audience that I didn't think that is like this wasn't like a show that they played. This was like them in the studio and like their buddies being like, yeah, like you could hear people in the background and in between songs. There was people mumbling and talking, and it really made for a different kind of release. It wasn't this live record, but it wasn't live off the floor, but it was in front of an audience in an intimate setting, but it wasn't like probably even advertised. They were just probably like, hey, do you want us watch us do this? I don't know, like it was really interesting. And you know what I really liked is like we've heard the song Japan Air by them, and they did Air Japan by them,
but they changed the song name. Yeah, I'm so curious about why the song name, and like you can tell the recording's totally different too. Like the vocal, again, everything's it's weird to hear a song re-recorded more lo-fi, like the way they did. You know what I mean? Like it's like I remember the first time we heard it, it was this very like kind of pretty put together like poppy sounding song, and then they approached it with more I don't even know how to describe it, like more like traditional punk, but it's still slow. Guys, why did you change the song? I'm so curious.
Barry Beatdown Bros, Slewfoot, are just like exploding on the scene. Like again, Ontario hardcore is just like at it, and like if Ontario hardcore is a Royal Rumble wrestling match, they came like the intro music is them exploding and them just running and charging towards that fucking Royal Rumble, just ready to fucking take out competitors. Like these are ready to pummel the competition. This was super cool. I got a mustache in my fucking mouth when I was talking.
These things happen.
You know what I thought was really cool about this release was like it sounded really well produced. You could tell me that fucking DL, like the singer of fucking Bad Wolves, or like the old guitarist from Acacia Strain, DL. You could tell me he produced this EP, and I totally believe you. But that's not the case, because it was in fact created by Jesse Harridan of Thread Junction Studios in Barrie, with mixing and mastering done by Brendan Hiles. I looked it up just because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't credited for DL and we were credited the right people. But
you're right. The mix is crazy.
Yeah, it sounds super cool. I think I saw these bands or this band doing a couple live shows already. So like if you're in that area, Barrie, like which is like a little north of like Toronto, so you're kind of a little in your own like subculture. People who are in that area definitely go out and see Slewfoot, because they're probably playing an aggressive set.
I wrote that they are the Baytown Haymaker Factory. This EP is just brutal. It is so heavy. It reminds me of like that first Betrayal EP where it's just all mosh riffs. Like it just won't stop. But there is a drizzle of death metal here. And you know what that drizzle is? Tremolo riffs. Yes. They just hit you with these tremolo riffs that just deafen the sound up. Everything in the mix sounds thick and full. This song is made for the pit, by the pit. This my shit. Bars. Next on the dock is St. Catherine's folk pop band Working Class Moms. They released an album called Stories for Another Time. I've written a lot, so I'm just gonna start talking. I really feel like the idea behind this band is that less is more. That seems to be a big working mentality behind this project. This is a stripped down, eclectic set of songs that are crafted mostly by like acoustic guitars and keys. They have this motif going of like voicemails throughout it to act as interludes. a lot of the tracks like Train, Rain, Roads, UFO channel that sort of like Bob Dylan energy that we got on the EP. But they seem to branch away slightly from that specific influence. And when they do, those typically end up being like the songs that I ended up like liking the most. Like I really like the song Drown. Like I think this is just like a beautiful, moody song. I love the vocal harmonizing. Old 45 makes me feel like a detective in a film noir. Epilogue hits us with this like multi-vocoded ending that sounds like plucked right out of an Imogen Heap album. The song Woods is absolutely beautiful. Like Jake is not only an ambitious and like great vocalist, like and like I'm getting more and more impressed with him as we go and as we know this guy. And what I find really impressive is that Jake has really learned from what feels like a young age to really understand what his voice is and how it should be utilized. He doesn't strain himself to try to sing outside of like his range or anything like that. He has a really good idea of his vocal identity. In Chubb, he has a well-established vocal identity in the Gumshots. And here, like, he has this, like, entirely different, like very serious, very folky vocal identity here, too. I'm just genuinely so impressed. Like, I feel like this is really... These guys are really punching above their weight. Like, you could show this album to your boomer dad, and he would immediately start talking about how they don't make music like this anymore. And this is a couple punk DIY kids from St. Catharines. Like, this is honestly amazing.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, there's nothing that I didn't write down that's not going to be echoing that, what you've already said. This is, masterfully crafted. Jake, we're like, time and time again, we're constantly talking about a project that Jake is involved in, whether he's produced it, recorded it, or is involved with it in some way, shape, or form. He does all these different things, like the Gumshots and Chubb, and he's like the Dick Van Dyke. Like, he could literally excel in all the stuff. Like, it's very, like, echoing what you're saying. Like, it's calculated. It's like, we need the world to really focus in on Jake's fucking talent, because he's just incredible. He also does a lot of like videography. Like this guy is spitting so many plates, and like
he's a director. He's directed movies too.
None of them are wobbling. You know what I'm
like
saying?
Short films and stuff. Yeah.
He's such a talented person, and what you're saying. This is more of like a folky kind of take on what they were doing earlier. Like this is we kind of straying from some of the piano ballads, but like this was just like, I mean, come on, like what can't this guy do?
Yeah, it's a. I love when Butters jumps by, and they make for such good zooms. It's super soulful. Just to really bear yourself like that and put it out there in a singer-songwriter way is like it's such a sense of vulnerability. It's such a vulnerable way to put yourself out there, and he excels. This is a really incredible album. Like it's impressive. It's truly impressive. So shout out you again. You're on every episode. Good for you.
Next up we have Flower City Ultrasonic Weapon. Dear
they are.
Evangeline.
Dear Evangeline.
Dear Evangeline. Now this is where I would get more new metal influence. This reminds me of like early Korn, like the first two records, and like Kitty Had a Kid, and like Mate, Feed, Kill, Repeat, like Slipknot, like before they even did the self-titled stuff, like early new metal, where like they weren't doing the bells and whistles, like it was just like this like raw, like it reminds me of when I first heard Blind by Korn, and like hearing that track just cranked up, and it was just like, are you ready? Yeah, no, this was a really cool like essence of new metal. This band got me super excited, and like I see that they're playing shows more. Like you need to go see this band. I need to get a hard copy of this friggin' EP. So like here's a call to action, folks. If you're coming out east, like let me know. We can make something happen, because this is a sick band.
I actually got and it's not on the technical level necessarily, but I was actually getting like first couple records Dillinger Escape Plan.
Oh, cool.
yeah, just like overdriven to the point where it's almost like clipping in a good way. Like straight up distortion on the vocals, big emphasis on like big moshable grooves rather than just straightforward two-step parts. Like it just always has like a consistent groove. I can see where you're getting the new metal influences in it as well. I was getting actually more of like even like a Refused sort of like Shape of Punk to Come element from this.
Cool. Yeah. So like
Yeah,
later '90s stuff. Like it's
yeah, a
all
band that
there.
seems more it seems more focused on creativity versus giving you like circle pit two-step breakdown. You know what I mean? Like this is a band that is taking the genre of heavy music and not necessarily like going for the dance riffs. They're going for something a bit more dynamic. I have a really good feeling about this band. I recommend people keep an eye on them.
Bitch was such a cool tune.
It's a great song. It's so good. It's the type of song that I picture myself back as a kid watching Much Loud, and that song comes on, and I'm just like in love with this track. Like, it's a great song. Great message behind the song too. This band is great. Like they're so good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys, Kitchener indie rock band Wayfarer have put out an album called Invisible Summer. This feels like classic emo rock with modern day production. This reminds me of like Sparta, the Get Up Kids, you know, like moody but upbeat, like sullen, but there's like an energy, kind of like Alkaline Trio too. You know what I mean? Like that sort of like classic emo. I guess Alkaline's a little farther up, but like, yeah, I think Sparta is really the one that it reminded me of a lot. Very chimey, bright leads, melodramatic hooks. If you're a fan of like true emo, like carabiners and like box frame glasses and like khaki pants emo, like the emo that has been forgotten by mainstream society, not scene kids, like actual emo ass kids. This is a band for you.
Yeah, it's funny that you were getting that much emo out of it, because I really got like more like punk infused, like emo rock, like kind of like a blend of like new grunge and like Midwest emo. Like it was like the emo was definitely there. Like I'm not denying that. Like I was getting Bayside even but like Dirty Nil and like Basement and like Menzingers especially.
Okay, Basement's becoming your misser.
Yeah, I know they really are. they're my they're my like litmus test if like they're that like new grunge kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was like an interesting like a record that I can definitely see myself going back and back to again. This was super catchy. Yeah, you could like see yourself hearing these songs in like acoustic renditions around a campfire. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Davis also did this record too.
Nice. Shout out Davis, producing everything.
Steeltown Shredder's Working Girl put out a self-titled EP, and back to the new metal theme. Like, this is what I'm talking about. These folks actually just put out a rendition of a System of a Down cover on our pals Ryfield Studios podcast, where like bands go on there and do like live performances and then sit down with the dudes there.
Okay,
we love
that's interesting.
Other podcasts that are happening in Ontario, and this is a cool podcast. Santa was supposed to be on this podcast, but I moved out to New Brunswick before we can make it happen. But like, yeah, this Working Girl EP was certainly interesting, and that's what I was getting, like that late 90s bands like Tool and like Disturbed and like System of a Down kind of new metal, that side of new metal. And like I was hearing like Between the Buried and Me and like a Muir, like
oh my god, bro, I wrote vocals remind me a lot of Amir when he goes his most unhinged. I was getting so much Amir in that.
And like Amir is known for like even having like new metal sounds. Like,
yeah. If anyone says Felony isn't a good record, I'll fight you. Felony,
I gotta go back and listen to it.
Felony is so good.
Because they got a handful of records, right? Slave to the Game one good.
That's probably the worst one.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably get for. Oh my god, we'll talk. We should just do a video on it. We'll do a video on Emir one day or something like that, and actually go through it. But Felony is just bounce riff city. Like it is such, in terms of like if you just understand not to take Frankie seriously and take like his vocals seriously and just listen to the music, It is undeniably fun. We are not talking about Amir. We are talking about
No,
Working
we'll
Girl.
get into it. Yeah, yeah. So Working Girl, like the song "Slap," like the progression in it starts off as like a very like moody song, and then quickly picks up.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when we covered it before, like it almost sounded like two different songs when we went through it. But yeah, this is a cool band.
Yeah, you know what? Here, you're right. There was some new metal. Force Fed definitely has like a Korn intro to it. I definitely
Yeah.
felt like I was noticing that before it goes like full metal, and then it like dials it back with some choppy melodic leads. Almost reminds me of like Misery Signals and Counterparts, the way they do like their big like melodic leady parts.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy Crown reminds me of a mad scientist riding a motorcycle. That's what I pictured.
We gotta get
Yeah,
an AI generated photo of that.
I'll do my best. This is a really cool release. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, super cool.
Toronto Noise Pollution, Strange Limbs, have a new song out using the same character with a color swap on it. This song is called Leave Me Alone. This is their very distinct take on noise punk. That guitar pedal box is getting worked like an Amazon warehouse employee. Like, it is just working so hard. There's a super hazy mix on this song, but the guitars just cut through like absolute butter. It's really hard to nail like this band down genre wise. Like, and they really, now more so than any other band we've ever talked about, this really reminds me of Refused. Jessica sounds great. Everything on here, the clean delivery, the yells, the shrieks, she always sounds really good. These guys are borrowing from a lot of heavy genres, but it always comes out with something totally unique sounding.
Yeah, Danny's like using that pedal board to its full potential. Like, he knows what he's doing. It's impressive to hear.
Every knob is turned. There isn't a single knob off on the pedal board.
It's interesting to know that there was only one person playing guitar, filling out that whole sound.
Seems
it's
impossible.
Not a bassist. Like it's just crazy, that wall of sound that he is able to produce. Yeah, Jess does these really cool vocals that are like bratty punk, but they're like pop filled aggression. You know, it actually kind of brought me to this place where it reminded me of like Dead and Divine in a way, but like
okay,
I don't know why it wasn't like when you think of Dead and Divine, you're thinking of all different other elements of it, but like if it kind of like specifically like a Dead and Divine chorus, like it was like ambient and sung well, but then it would jump back into like a very fast and
kind of like
thing.
Wolves or something like that.
Yeah, but like this was like I went to the gym and I did some cardio today, and I was listening to this song, and this was like a good running song. This was like very high pace, and I think I listened to it a couple times while I was on the treadmill.
I want these guys to put out like a full release so we can really sink our teeth into something here.
Following Every Time I Die's breakup, we've got Ottawa Riffmasters, The Sink, who are filling that void seamlessly with like a dirty southern metalcore sound. It's like, honestly, like Cancer Bats, Every Time I Die, The Chariot, and Maylene married together. Like, it is literally all the elements that you get from those bands put together. Like,
with some botch in there.
Yeah, but throw Botch in there. Yeah, Norma Jean, like, such a good fucking cool release. And like I said, like, if you're a fan of any of those bands, Once Nothing, like all these other bands that like people probably don't remember.
A Life Once Lost.
This is there for you. The Sink is there for you. They're reaching for the light. That's what the release is called. I should have said that at the beginning.
Super like heady and impactful vocals obviously reminds you of Every Time I Die. Very like flashy drum fills all over this. I really like the drumming on here. There's like some serious like snake in my boot ass 2-step riffs. Like the leads are super dissonant. This just sounds to me like the type of music that like an evil cowboy would listen to.
Right.
Like an outlaw bandit, but like real evil. Like the type of person who plays Red Dead 2 and is just like tying people to tracks the whole time. That's this guy's music.
Yeah.
Niagara pedal to the metal core. Yeah, I'm happy with that one. Stuck in Neutral. Released an EP called Moving Forward. This is absolutely the type of metalcore that I loved growing up. The type of metalcore that we got before, you know, the Architects formula was created. These guys have a personality of all their own. The clean vocals have like a grit to them, which I kind of enjoy. It matches the sort of dirty or hazier mix that's on this recording. the kicks and the chugs have like a big weight to them. Like it makes it very pummeling. Vocals are all over the place tone wise. A lot of different stuff happening on here. There's some like classic mosh call parts. There's like electronic intros. There's dual harmony guitar parts. There's clean choruses. This really takes like the elements of early metalcore and condenses it into something that manages to feel like refreshing in 2024. Reminds me of like Darkest Hour, who they're kind of becoming my other misser. And so I'll name some bands I haven't named on here. Kind of reminds me of like Bleeding Through, Scars of Tomorrow, Sinai Beach, Hopes Fall, stuff like that. Super, super cool.
Killswitch and Gaze, All That Remains.
Killswitch in Gaze? Is that what you just said?
Killswitch Engaged. Yeah, sorry.
It came out so bizarre. I wonder, I can't wait to hear it back and hear if you said it wrong or if I just heard it weird.
I do want to point out the song Toxic Waste. And what was that about? So, like, waste was spelled W-A-I-S-T, like your waste. And they were screaming, fuck your toxic waste. I don't know what was going on with that song. Let us know. Am I interpreting this wrong? Or is it just like talking about somebody's traits? So, let me know.
Maybe it's like an anti-dieting anthem.
Yeah, I'm
sick of seeing your toxic waste. I'll have my proud waste. We'll see if I leave that in. This is all weird.
Next up, we have Rarity, Hamilton's finest. They have a couple songs out, Keep It to Yourself and Okay. We have already made a reaction to Okay. These were cool songs, and tune into that for our full exploration of the song Okay.
Toronto demolition team Terminvl have released a new track called 0 Day. Since you and me checked out their first track together, I've been like super excited about this band, and I've been listening to the end again. So that's a win. This band sounds like the apocalypse. This band really, it just sounds like buildings falling apart. There's just like a constant slam dance riff happening. The repetition of the lyrics, it just sounds, the social commentary all over this. Everything about this is like what I want out of heavy music. Like it's tantric in the way that it repeats things. The vocals are crystal clear, super emotive. The lead on the song is like haunting. Again, I don't know if that's guitar or some sort of keys added in, but it's like it's a really, really haunting lead. The mix just makes everything on the song sound like a wrecking ball covered in sludge. I love this band straight up. Like I can't wait to see these guys.
So yeah, I'm thinking, it is textbook. It is textbook Botch, Norma Jean, The Chariot. But the biggest difference that sets them apart from those bands that I've just mentioned is like the different guitar tone. We're talking like Bring Me the Horizon, Suicide Season era. That's the kind of tone that they were getting, and those are the riffs they're playing, but they're playing it in a style of the textbook. Like it's really cool that they've managed to mesh these bands and honestly create a different kind of sound for that. Like they're exploring that side that I don't think has necessarily been explored before. I think this honestly band deserves to be in a theater or like an arena. Like they deserve like massive walls of death and fucking huge circle pits. Like you could really see that happening with this band.
Yeah, they sound huge.
Yeah.
They have such a big sound. Again, that feeling of where a band just like sounds like they're punching above their weight. It's like this band that comes out with like their first single and it sounds like it was produced for $1 million.
And we, Nate, who used to be in Gouge Out, he's doing vocals for a band again. So we love to see when friends are making music projects again, because we weren't sure if he was going to be doing vocals again. So
he needs to be, because he's a great vocalist.
Next up, we have Prosector. They are a London hard death. This is super cool. Hey, Sinner actually got to play with these guys when we opened for Teeth last year. They put on a crazy cool show, and this fucking song is massive. The chorus that kind of was like sung and chanted, like it was like haunting. Like these guys are absolute juggernauts. They need to be like in the same conversation as like Lorna Shore and like Whitechapel, like the dense guitar tones and like the layered synth. That was all just like the cherry on top of all this. These guys are giants, and the giant has been woken up, and they are pissed. Like, and they're gonna just be relentless. This is super cool.
That was a very apt comparison you just made, because it actually does kind of remind me of the band Sleeping Giant as well. Yeah, this is another band that just like, again, like straight up, just like Terminvl. I pointed above me because because on my screen that one is above the note I'm reading now. This is another band that sounds like the world is just ending straight up. Like, it just sounds like buildings falling over, pure destruction. The choir, like you were bringing up, is like so satisfying. I love the multi-layered vocaling that they're doing there. The vocals themselves are just low and thick, like a BBL.
Brazilian butt lift.
Yeah, it's low and thick.
Okay, sorry.
Well, I guess they raise it up. It's thick. It's thick is what I'm trying to say. Yes, like a Brazilian butt lift, Phil. That's what I wrote. Do not. What are you? Stop it. I'm uncomfortable now, and I'm ending the show. The bass work is absolutely mesmerizing on this track. When they do that like bridge where you can just hear the bass, it's like my favorite part of the track. It's such a big standout. When they go into the big bendy ass breakdown, like I think like a little under halfway in this song, it sounds like the guitars are both being detuned and melting. Like, it's crazy. Like, and they have like straight up scary tremolo leads. Like, they sound scary. These kings are far from silent.
Yeah. That bendy part kind of reminded me of like Structures.
Yeah, exactly. Structures is the band that more than any other band in the world sounded like buildings falling down. Like, it's just like, it sounds like there's barely a time saying, man, I miss Structures.
I know.
St. Catherine's Hippies, Mushroom Valley, put out their newest track, Crystal Bowl. This sounds plucked right out of the 60s or early 70s. This is like fuzzy, acidic shoegaze with chimey guitars and splashy drums. This is the type of music that makes... Oh my God. I forget what I write, and then I start reading it again, and sometimes I make myself laugh, Phil. This is the type of music that makes you want to replace showering and having a job with growing your hair and dropping mushrooms. I love the tempo slowdown near the end of this song. Just really pretty part in general. And I really like... maybe this is a redundant thing to say, but it's really impressive how much they actually sound like what they're going for. Like, I know that sounds stupid, but like, if you showed this to someone who grew up with like trippy, psych, hippie era music in the 60s, you could convince them that this was just a band they hadn't heard of from that era. Like, this sounds exactly like what they're going for. It's mesmerizing. It's trippy. This is easily one of the most unique bands in Niagara right now. Like, I don't think anyone sounds like this but them. So yeah, this is awesome.
This band always brings a smile to my face because the people in this band are like not only like great musicians, but they're actually like fun and entertaining people. It's like they're funny outside of this band, and like I always got to see them when I was working in the shop. They would always come in and like, yeah, this is such a cool band. There's like I think Austin told us there's like 8 or 9 people in this band. So seeing this on stage would be like such a music experience. I pulled references from like Steppenwolf, and who had like Magic Carpet Ride and like the Grateful Dead. Like, this is like crazy. Yeah, this is like, yeah, exactly echoing what you're saying. Like, this is that 60s hippie era, and like, if you're looking to take a psychedelic journey on like a Sunday afternoon, I highly recommend you queuing up some of this Mushroom Valley and just like letting it transport you to a realm where you can hear and taste color.
That's beautiful, Phil.
Speaking of beautiful, we have Phantom Lung with Abhorrent Entity 3, Solvagant. How did I can't pronounce
Solvagant? I don't know. I'm pretty sure Andy made that word up. That shit don't look real to me.
which is the third and last installment of An Horror Entity, which is like a full record, but this is the third EP of the collection of songs, which is super cool. I mean, like, what needs to be said about Phantom Lung that hasn't already been said? We love Andy. He is easily one of our favorite guests on the show. He spearheaded this journey from like starting it as like a bedroom project and like just doing a one-man band and like evolving into this crazy band. Like, actually, I want to congratulations are in order for Phantom Lung. Not only did they just play a debut show last night, but they ended up winning the competition that Andy was talking about, that Battle of the Bands that actually gets them a chance to play overseas, which is incredible. That's their first show that they've ever done. There's not many bands that get to say like, listen, we like, swept everybody out of those. Like, there was a lot of cool bands on that bill, and not to say that they didn't play well, but like, congratulations, that's huge. So like, if you're a fan of like Nails, Mammoth Grinder, Harm's Way, like that HM2 sound, that's all like we're all too familiar with, because this is such a cool, like, unhinged, like, the vocals are incredible.
I've seen a little bit of footage of their first show, and it looks like absurd. Like the idea of these songs even being played live by humans just seems like an impossible feat. Like, it's so fast and vicious. This is music that sounds like it was written by Bloodborne bosses. Like, it's so scary and heavy. Like, this band goes to like 11. They're an actual band that goes to 11. Yes, that's a Spinal Tap reference. I watched that movie like once a month when I was a kid. I love the Spinal Tap movie. Get a little off track. Yeah. It's like I like to always say here, Phil, I like my music like I like my women. Loud and heavy. And Abhorrent Entity is absolutely loud and heavy. Toronto two-step dealers Influx released an EP called Work to Rule. This is hardcore with a little top layer of power violence on it. Dense, sludgy pit music. Vocals are reverbed out and pissed off. Bass tone sounds huge. Strings sound like they're this thick. Guitars are right in your face. It's one of those mixes where the energy of the band has been captured really well. The circle pits parts sound fast. They sound whirling. The two-step riffs are accented by just like a perfect dodgeball snare tone. Like, man, if you love hardcore and you aren't listening to Influx, you are doing it wrong, brother.
I really liked the artwork. That was something I really enjoyed from this release. Like, it was just such a, I don't know, interesting. I love when you get like a different kind of artwork.
You get like a character.
It's like abstract and like, yeah, you get kind of a character. Yeah, this was fast. I think this was like a 7-minute record. Like, this was super cool. I was getting inspiration. I was getting early Turnstile. Like, we're talking like Pressure to Succeed. But like more of a bratty punk approach, like with like an 80s, like late 80s vibe. Like, in the terms of the vocal style, though, they were like the Banner. I don't know if you remember that band.
I do remember the Banner.
So like, just like this all out relentless energy, just being like, like, it was just like super intense. Like, another addition to the fucking Southern Ontario hardcore roster. Like, just keep it coming.
Influx rules.
Now, next up, we have Welland legend Spencer Burton with his full-length record, Northwind. Now, I'll be honest with you, Tyler. Spencer Burton's a name that I've crossed the path many times. People have often praised him very highly. He's like a staple in the Niagara area. He's like a familiar face at Port Dalhousie's Cicada Fest. And he's like, people are always talking about Spencer Burton. And honestly, I had never actually gone out of my way to listen to him. So this is the first time I actually listened to him.
Same. This is my first time hearing any of his solo stuff. Apparently he's been doing this for like a decade.
Yeah, for quite a while. So like, we definitely slept on this, but this is typically not what we cover here on the show. This is more like country folk rock, not even rock.
Pop country, I'd say. It's like feel good country.
Yeah, but it was like, what was good about it and enjoyable? It's not that like what I consider called boots and hearts core. Like, it's not that like, it doesn't seem like it's pandering to an audience of like, it seems like it's cowboy in like you feel like it doesn't feel like it's corny in any way. It feels like, it's not one of those songs that like someone could just get drunk to and like, this is my kind of
No, yeah.
music.
It feels
This is
very authentic. It's the vibe.
calculated.
Yeah, the vibe I got was that like it was almost I wrote that a lot of these songs seem to be looking like they're trying to find the good parts of isolation. Going
Yeah.
fishing, having your dog, like the wind on your face and like sitting on your porch at night and like stuff like that. Like just like these like good parts of being alone. That's what I got from it. It was really interesting. If this is any indication of like their past work, if you like country, this is probably a huge recommend. This felt like mastercrafted. There's a stickiness in every song. By the time you hear the chorus the second time in these songs, you know it. And you're probably
Yeah.
singing it. Like it's like the stickiness and the hookiness of this project is great. This is like from what I understand, recorded in Tennessee with a little bit of the research I did. So it's like even recorded in a very authentic place for a record like this. And I mean, yeah, like Coyote was a really cool song.
Oh yeah.
Going fishing. I like that song, and I don't like country music, and I don't like fishing. And I like the song Going Fishing. And dude, the song Dandelion, just about loving your dog. Like, man, oh my god, warmed my heart,
love
dude.
dogs.
This oozes charm, dude. I have genuinely loved this. Every now and then we get exposed to a little country here, and thankfully it's all been pretty impressive, and this is top tier.
Yeah, like there's like a small microcosm of like country coming out of Niagara and Welland, and it's cool that we get to cover it on the show. So yeah, really interesting release.
Hamilton Heavyweights VR have released a self-titled release. This is Metallica influenced hardcore, wearing it directly on its sleeve. I'm pretty sure one of the songs is called Enter the Real Sandman or something. Like this is one of my favorite types of genres, like specifically like Metallica influenced hardcore. The two-step riffs are real thick and chunky. They throw in like those Egyptian leads and just like metal tinge leads that really do sound like something like James Hetfield would play. And the vocalist sounds like his head's gonna pop. Like he's pushing his voice so
That's
hard.
so funny. It's so funny that you say that because the reference, oh my god. So this is a brand new band and they're really elusive and mystery. Like there's nothing about this band that's on their Instagram. There's only a couple like promotional stuff of the EP.
I don't even know what VR stands for.
That's what I actually was going to ask you. What do you think VR stands for?
Oh, virtual reality.
Virtual reality. See, there's a snake in the logo, so I'm going to go with Viper Recon.
Viper Recon. Okay, should I do a more silly answer? I don't actually think it's virtual reality. It's very raw. This isn't going in. Fuck. Can't think on my feet today.
Yeah, this was super cool. I wrote down new mosh. Like this is kind of like metallicore with like, I don't know. This was, you said the vocalist sounded like he was gonna head was gonna explode. I wrote down that it reminded me of Beaker from the Muppets.
There is no way this paper can burn.
If he was screaming and like when he screams, his head ends up exploding. So I liked how the songs seamlessly merged together. Like it sounded like one big song, but like if you were to go back and listen to your favorite parts of that song, you could pull up those parts. It was really cool.
Yeah, I like when they weave seamlessly in and out like that. I also like I just want to give a quick shout out as well to just like this super like slinky bass, and in like every song they give you these little pockets where you just hear the bass, and it just I love it. I love a really good bass tone, and I love that they did this. Metallica core forever. Bring me more. Shout out VR. Let us know what your band name is. Is it Viper Recon? Is it virtual reality? Is it Virginia Rats?
Volume Rectum.
Vagina Rectum. Is your band name Vagina Rectum? We probably shouldn't say that too many times.
Southern Ontario Dungeon Masters Pathfinder have released a song on Bard. This will be out by the time you see this, but it's not out right now, and we get a sneak peek at it. So I'm really glad that they
that's why I couldn't find it. Okay, yeah, exactly. I was a little confused. That's why you linked me. There we go. Nice. I did not know that. Very cool.
Yeah, the drums of the song are particularly like high, rapid BPM. Like this is like
Yeah.
very fast. But the lyrics are talking about like they're anti-establishment, talking about a leader who's promising freedom, but who is like a corrupt leader, and like this is a really cool way of like demonstrating that, but like delivering it in that relentless deathcore. Bands like Elijah come to mind because they were pretty progressive and political back then. I
Molotov
could tell,
Solution.
yeah, Molotov Solution. I could tell you our Tom and Ben fans are definitely not going to like this song if they look into the lyrics, or maybe they will because it's so elusive that they might think they're talking about.
It's about Joe Brandon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is the type of music that has you doing the stank face just over and over again. Like every time it switches to a new part, you're just re-stanking. Like it's stank face music.
Stank man.
These guitars are other guitars that sound like they're basically like detuning themselves during the breakdowns. Like it's just this wave of just low brow like as it's going. I also wrote down that the drumming is just crazy. Like it's just so good. Big theatric leads, super anthemic vocals, and like some straight up pig squeal vocals in here as well. So
yeah.
I love hearing it. You love to hear pig vocals in 2024.
I love that they had lyrics too. Like if it was the like vocals that came up with it, and when the pig squeals were happening, there was like they were actually lyrics. They weren't just breeze. That's what
I mean, so they say, okay? Job for a Cowboy used to do the same thing, where it would be like this paragraph, and I'm like, nuh-uh. You can't fool me. Barry inmates prison have released a song called War of Solitude.
It's happening. It's finally happening. Oh my god, it's happening. It's happening. These guys haven't put out a fucking song in 7 years, bro.
Oh, okay. I was unaware of prison. This is an off-the-floor recording for sure, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it gives it a very present feeling. This sounds so menacing, like evil and uncomfortable. And I love the artwork for this. I'm a sucker for like demonic occult shit, stuff like that. Like the triple goat head put together, whatever that was. Like super cool. I was unaware of the legacy this band had.
Yeah, Center's actually played with this band a countless amount of times. They put on such a heavy show, and the fact that I heard that they were putting in another song out, I was like, oh my god. I believe they're playing another show soon, so Barry folks, definitely go out and see them because you don't know if you're going to see them ever again. They're pulling like things from like Harm's Way, Zilbulba, Acacia Strain, and even like bands like Exalt. Like this is a heavy fucking band, and like this is like so exciting, and like the rawness of this track definitely captures how their live sound is, and like it's so cool that they came back with this song. Like this is like no fucks given. Like this is where we're at. This is just such a raw produced sound, and if you do get the chance, if you really like this band, dive into their 2017 release, Mountain of Fire, which is like equally impressive.
Yeah, I'm assuming with the off-floor recording, like this band was just like excited to put out a new song. So hopefully that means there's more in the pocket. I don't know as much about the history. I know nothing about the history, and you do. So maybe I should tamper those expectations. But I really like what I heard. I'd like to hear what that sounds a bit more cleaned up with some good production on it. So, Speaking of good production.
Speaking of good production, we have the one-man music machine, the unstoppable kung fu master himself, Kevin Fournier, with his project Strict Month and his release Prequel. Now, I'm so glad we finally got to hear this release. You talked lots about it. It goes through so many different kind of endeavors. Like we get the punk song, we get Hereditary song, which is more light beat, and like it's kind of like Say Anything. He's very raw and vulnerable in a lot of his lyrics, and like he even gave us like a huge shout out when the record came out. He tagged us and
very kind of
thanked us, and that was very kind of you, Kevin. We really appreciate the exposure that you're giving us. But like honestly, we just like good music, and when it comes down to it, you can do it all. The fact that like you can play the guitar and like you're a very 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 skilled drummer, like that is like your craft, and like then you're being able to like pull some of these vocal like melodies off that you've managed to create. Like this
Even
is
some of the
all,
synth patterns are really
yeah, this
cool and
is like,
imaginative.
and like he does it all those music videos that we've seen, he's created, he's filmed, he's edited, he's recording himself. There's nothing like more DIY than this fucking man. He is putting his whole heart into this project, and we see you, we hear you, and we appreciate you giving us the shout outs, but we're really just here for the good music. And honestly, Strict Month, keep it going.
Yeah, this album itself, getting back to the actual Strict Month stuff, is like an absolute synth punk rock landscape. The songs, like you were saying, are very deeply personal to him, and you pick up on that pretty easily. And there's a lot of like, again, like genre bending on here, but in a way where it's like it feels cohesive. It never feels like it's like, yeah, like it goes everything from like No Effects and Lagwagon to bands like Say Anything, Alkali Trio, Gaslight Anthem,
Propaganda.
yeah, and like again, like this is another one of those records that happened where some of the slower tracks became some of my favorite ones. Behind Your Eyelids is beautiful.
Yeah, Behind Your Eyelids is such a good song.
With friend of the show Anthony Albanese, Lowercase Letter and Conjurer, same thing, just super beautiful songs. I still listen to Hereditary song pretty regularly. I really, really enjoy that song. And Open Sores is like a journey of a song that ends up ending with like a synth covered like breakdown almost. Like he covers a lot of ground here, and he does it in a way where it all feels just super, super cohesive to who he is. I think a big part of that is coming from the fact that, you know, this is coming from one guy. It's all his imagination. Everything from the sound of it to the way it's recorded to the videos, everything is him, right? So this is a peek directly into his musical imagination, and like it's extremely impressive. So yeah, shout out Kevin. Thank you again for your continued kindness. We love the music you put out, and check out his music school, check out Strict Night. Yeah, check out Kevin. Just check out Kevin. He's a very talented person and a very kind person as well, and he deserves your love. So give him lots of love. Tell him the Bandecdotes folks sent you.
Hey, well, there you have it, folks. That was our January, February catch up on Locals Only. Now, if you have a song or something you want us to check out, send it our way. We're not necessarily like just covering Southern Ontario stuff. It's just what so happens to come up on our radar because I used to live there and Tyler lives there. But if you're from any of the provinces, like just let us know. Like there's some other bands that were on this list that weren't from Ontario, and we'd be glad to feature you. So just let us know. Hit us up in the DMs. Directly email us. We do bandecdotes@gmail.com. We're on Instagram @bandecdotes. We're pretty accessible. Just let us know, and we'll make sure that we'll get you on the next Locals Only. If we didn't get you this time, make sure we'll get you on the next one.
Yeah, and if you feel like we've been missing your band, trust me, it's definitely not personal. We're not overlooking you for any reason. We've just been busy. So please let us know if you want us to cover you. We like listening to new music. That's why we do this. So
that's why we do this, yeah.
And if you guys can give us a little likey on the video, that helps us a lot. You know, what helps us even more would be a subscribe if you're feeling generous. And if you're feeling super duper generous, there is a join button in the comments below or somewhere. You can join our channel and give us $2 a month, and if you do that, you can help us buy some coffee when we're staying up at night editing these things. So regardless, no matter what you thought or no matter how you help, we just appreciate you watching. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for watching Locals Only. Take care of yourself.